In our modern world where satellite imagery reveals every corner of the planet, there remain places that exist in a paradoxical state, visible from space yet utterly unreachable. These extraordinary locations represent some of Earth's most pristine and mysterious sites, protected by treacherous geography, geopolitical tensions, or profound cultural reverence. This documentary explores 10 of the most impossible-to-reach places visible on Google Earth, from crystal-clear meteor craters in the Canadian Arctic to disputed volcanic islands sparking international tensions. These locations tell stories that transcend geography. Deep within Quebec's Ungava Peninsula lies one of Earth's most perfect natural formations, the Pingualuit crater. This remarkable geological feature appears from space as a nearly perfect circle of deep blue water surrounded by barren tundra, representing one of the most pristine aquatic environments on our planet. Approximately 1.4 million years ago, a massive meteorite struck this remote corner of Canada, creating an 876-foot deep crater with an uplifted rim and crystallized bedrock underneath. The impact formed what geologists consider one of the most well-preserved impact craters on Earth. What makes Pingualuit extraordinary is its hydrological isolation. Unlike virtually every other body of water in Canada's vast network, Pingualuit crater has no inflow or outflow. It exists as a completely closed system, filled entirely by millennia of accumulated rainwater and snowmelt. This isolation has resulted in water of extraordinary purity, some of the clearest, most ultra-pure water found anywhere on Earth. The water's clarity is so remarkable that visibility extends to depths impossible in most natural bodies of water. Scientists describe it as nature's equivalent of distilled water, with mineral content approaching laboratory-grade specimens. The indigenous Inuit people have long recognized this exceptional quality, calling it Pingualuit, meaning where the land rises. Yet this natural wonder remains one of North America's most difficult places to reach. Access is severely restricted, with permissions granted almost exclusively to the local Inuit community and researchers. Visitors must fly to increasingly remote Inuit settlements until reaching a village within 55 miles of the crater. From there, Inuit guides lead expeditions across harsh tundra by dog sled, snowmobile, or hiking across boggy, mosquito-infested terrain. The cost reflects the expedition's extreme nature, beginning around 10,000 Canadian dollars per person. These factors limit visitation to 20 to 60 tourists annually, making Pingualuit one of North America's least visited natural wonders. Despite being the most accessible location on our list, it demonstrates how isolation preserves natural purity in an increasingly connected world. Hidden deep within the Amazon rainforest along the Peru-Brazil border stands one of South America's most enigmatic features, Cerro Elono. This towering, pyramid-shaped mountain rises approximately 1,500 feet above the surrounding jungle canopy, its perfect geometric form so striking that it has sparked theories ranging from geological anomaly to ancient artificial construction. What makes Cerro Elono particularly mysterious is the complete absence of close-up photographic documentation. Despite its impressive height and distinctive shape, not a single photograph has been taken from ground level. This photographic void has fueled speculation about its true nature, with some researchers suggesting it could be an ancient pyramid structure, now completely overgrown by jungle vegetation. The mountain's prominence above the flat Amazon expanse makes it visible from extraordinary distances. Observers report seeing Cerro Elono from the Andes Mountains, over 250 miles away, making it an invaluable landmark for indigenous peoples, particularly the Iskanahua tribe, among the few remaining uncontacted groups in the Amazon. According to information from contacted tribes, Cerro Elono holds such profound spiritual importance that it may never be climbed. Indigenous peoples view it as a guardian spirit, a sacred sentinel watching over the headwaters of major Amazon tributaries. This reverence runs so deep that approaching the mountain is considered sacrilegious. The presence of uncontacted indigenous peoples adds complexity to any potential expedition. The Iskanahua and other tribes have deliberately chosen isolation, and their territorial rights are fiercely protected. Any attempt to reach Cerro Elono would necessarily traverse their ancestral lands, creating danger for both outsiders and indigenous communities. The Peruvian government has implemented stringent protections for indigenous territories in this region. These legal safeguards, designed to preserve indigenous sovereignty and protect tribal health from outside diseases, create an impenetrable barrier around Cerro Elono. Even scientific researchers are prohibited from approaching within several miles of the mountain's base. In the vast South Atlantic Ocean, approximately 1,400 miles from the nearest human settlement and 1,000 miles from Antarctica, lies the most isolated piece of land on Earth, Bouvet Island. This Norwegian territory represents the ultimate expression of geographical isolation, a mere speck of volcanic rock in an ocean of perpetual storms. When early explorers first encountered this remote outpost, they must have experienced profound disillusionment. After weeks at sea, the sight of land typically brings hope and relief. Instead, Bouvet Island presents itself as a forbidding dome of rock, encased in windswept ice and offering no refuge to weary travelers. Rising from the ocean as a barren volcanic cone, Bouvet Island is almost entirely covered by a glacier that creates a constantly shifting landscape. This ice cap, fed by the island's position in the path of Earth's most violent storm systems, creates a dynamic environment where massive ice sheets regularly calve into the surrounding ocean in spectacular displays. Beneath this frozen exterior lies a geological secret, adding danger to an already hostile environment. Bouvet Island sits atop an active volcano that could erupt at any time. This volcanic activity creates a surreal contrast, a landscape of ice and snow powered by molten forces deep within the Earth, creating unique microclimates that support surprising biodiversity. Despite harsh conditions, Bouvet Island serves as a crucial sanctuary for marine wildlife. The island hosts substantial populations of seabirds, seals, and penguins, who have adapted to its extreme environment. For these hardy species, isolation provides protection from human interference and introduced predators. The surrounding ocean presents some of the planet's most dangerous maritime conditions. Satellite imagery reveals waves of colossal proportions, including distinctive square wave patterns notorious for creating freak waves and deadly rip currents. Some waves cast shadows over 100 feet wide, testament to the enormous forces at play. The island's coastline offers no respite. Approximately 80% consists of cliffs plunging directly into the ocean, while the remaining 20% comprises exposed reefs and beaches, constantly battered by massive swells. There are no natural harbors, protected anchorages, or safe landing sites. Rising like ancient fortresses from southern Venezuela's jungle floor, the Tepui Mountains represent some of Earth's most isolated and biologically unique environments. These massive sandstone plateaus, whose name derives from the indigenous Pimon word meaning house of the gods, tower above surrounding rainforests like islands in a green ocean. The Tepui Formation span hundreds of miles, comprising over 6 major zones of extraordinary geological features. These aren't traditional mountains, but colossal plateaus ranging from 2,000 to over 9,000 feet in height, their flat tops shrouded in clouds and mystery. Each Tepui is completely surrounded by dense rainforest and separated from neighbors by vast jungle expanses, creating natural laboratories for evolution. Among these remarkable formations, only 2 have been made accessible: the Tepui hosting Angel Falls, the world's tallest waterfall, and famous Mount Roraima. These locations have established trails allowing adventurous tourists to experience Tepui summit environments. However, the vast majority remain completely inaccessible, with no trails, aircraft landing sites, or means for humans to reach their isolated summits. In remote Tibet, now under Chinese occupation, stands one of the world's most sacred mountains, Mount Kailash. Rising over 21,000 feet above sea level, this peak presents a fascinating paradox. While technically achievable for experienced mountaineers, not a single human has ever stood upon its summit. This isn't due to geographical impossibility, but rather a complex web of religious reverence and political control, rendering the mountain effectively untouchable. Mount Kailash holds profound significance for 4 major Asian religions: Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and ancient Bon tradition. Each faith interprets the mountain's spiritual importance differently, but all share the central belief that Kailash represents the physical manifestation of Mount Meru, the sacred universe center in Asian cosmology. Hindus believe it's Lord Shiva's dwelling place, while Buddhists see it as Buddha Demchok's home. The mountain's religious significance extends beyond symbolism. For over 2,000 years, devotees from across Asia have undertaken arduous pilgrimages to circumambulate the mountain's base, a 32-mile journey known as the Kora. This ritual walk is considered one of the most spiritually significant acts in these religious traditions, with some believers maintaining that a single circumambulation can cleanse a lifetime of sins. The most devoted pilgrims undertake the Kora through prostration, an extreme devotion form involving lying flat on the ground, marking where fingertips reach, standing up, walking to that mark, and repeating the process for the entire 32-mile circuit. This extraordinary faith act can take up to 6 weeks, requiring pilgrims to endure rain, snow, mud, and extreme altitude while maintaining spiritual focus. Mount Kailash's political inaccessibility began in the 1950s when China invaded western Tibet and assumed control over mountain access. What had been a freely accessible pilgrimage site for millennia became subject to increasingly restrictive Chinese policies designed to limit Tibetan religious practices. The mountain became, in effect, imprisoned by political boundaries. China's Mount Kailash control has been used as a tool in their broader campaign to suppress Tibetan Buddhism and culture. While limited access has been granted to Indian pilgrims due to diplomatic considerations, Tibetans themselves have been largely cut off from their most sacred site. This restriction represents a profound violation of religious freedom and cultural heritage. The Chinese government's approach reached a controversial peak in the 1980s when they offered legendary Italian mountaineer Reinhold Messner a permit to climb the mountain. Messner's response became famous in mountaineering circles. "If we conquer this mountain, then we conquer something in people's souls. I would suggest they go and climb something a little harder. We should leave it to the people who are not climbers, to the pilgrims who believe in it." This refusal by one of the world's greatest mountaineers highlights Mount Kailash protection's ethical dimensions. The mountain's inaccessibility isn't merely political control or religious taboo, but represents a conscious choice to preserve something sacred in a world increasingly dominated by conquest and exploitation. Standing at Mount Kailash's base and looking up at its unclimbed summit would be profoundly moving. The knowledge that no human has ever stood upon its peak, despite technical accessibility, speaks to reverence and respects power in preserving the sacred. In a world where virtually every mountain has been climbed and every frontier explored, Mount Kailash remains inviolate, a testament to faith's enduring power and the importance of leaving some places untouched. As our virtual journey through these impossible places concludes, we're left with profound questions about humanity's relationship with the natural world and our own limitations. These locations, visible yet unreachable, represent more than geographical curiosities. They are windows into a world that existed before human dominance, sanctuaries where nature continues evolving according to its own ancient rhythms. Each place tells a story of barriers, natural, political, cultural, that have inadvertently created some of Earth's last truly pristine environments. The meteor crater in Canada preserves impossible water purity. Venezuela's Tepui harbor species evolution has crafted in isolation for millions of years. Sacred Kailash stands as a monument to reverence's power over conquest. Yet these stories carry warnings. Climate change threatens Bouvet Island's icebound isolation. Political tensions could alter Coral Island's access. Economic pressures are already destroying Brazil's hidden canyons' protective barriers. The very factors making these places impossible to reach are under assault from forces recognizing no boundaries and respecting no sanctuaries. Perhaps the greatest lesson these impossible places teach is inaccessibility's value itself. In a world where technology promises to make everything reachable, where tourism penetrates the globe's most remote corners, and where economic development recognizes no limits, these locations remind us that some things are more valuable when left alone. The moral is elegantly simple. If we could step back from our relentless drive to reach, exploit, and conquer every corner of our planet, we might discover that the greatest treasures are those we choose not to touch. In preserving these impossible places, we preserve something essential about the mystery and wonder that make our planet extraordinary. As we continue mapping, measuring, and cataloging every inch of Earth's surface, these locations stand as reminders that true exploration sometimes means knowing when not to explore, that real discovery can come from choosing to leave mysteries unsolved, and that the ultimate expression of human wisdom might be recognizing that some places are meant to remain forever beyond our reach.